Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Under Review's YouTube channel as part of the FPHL simulated season as the Hat-Tricks take on the Port Huron Prowlers. Casey Bryant here bringing you exclusive live coverage of tonight's contest. A quick shout out to my broadcast partners who could not be with me here this evening as Jack O'Mara continues to quarantine home in New Milford, and Zach McGinnis, well, he was very prepared for this pandemic as someone who lived through the 1918 Spanish flu crisis, so we give a lot of credit to Zach for his preparedness. The Danbury Hat-Tricks will be taking on the Port Huron Prowlers for the third time this weekend. The Hat-Tricks took Game 1 in overtime and then the Game 2 matchup in regulation, the first regulation contest between the Port Huron Prowlers and the Hat-Tricks. These two teams are incredibly evenly matched, and we should expect no different here this evening as both teams deal with tired virtual legs. We'll have Tom McGuckin going for his third consecutive start of the weekend for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Both nights on Friday and Saturday, he has come under siege early and has gotten more solid as the game goes on. It is up to the Danbury defense to protect him in the early goings of this one so that he can get his feet underneath him and start getting a feel for the puck early. They have to be able to protect the house in front of the net. The Prowlers have been using and abusing that play of the pass from the corner to the slot. The Hat-Tricks will have to lock that down here this evening. Opposite McGuckin will be Chris Paulin for the Port Huron Prowlers. And Port Huron's Paulin has been subject to a few questionable goals allowed last night, including the goal by Vlad Gavrik in which Paulin was kind of collapsing into the net. He's made a few uncharacteristic mistakes for Port Huron, and the Hat-Tricks will have to jump on him. The early goings of this game will be crucial as the Hat-Tricks try to seize momentum away from the home Prowlers. We'll see what they can do while on the road. We're going to turn you back over to McMorran Arena, and as we get set for puck drop, you're watching Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Under Review YouTube channel. Ding ding, it's time for round 3 between the Danbury Hat-Tricks and the Port Huron Prowlers here at McMorran Arena in Port Huron, Michigan. Tom McGuckin going for his third consecutive start in goal of the weekend, going for his third consecutive win. Trying to get the clean sweep from the Port Huron Prowlers, trying to match the feat of Dylan Kelly back in late January of this year, as Dylan Kelly started 4 games consecutively for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, while Tom McGuckin was away in Fayetteville in the SPHL. McGuckin was able to win 3 games in a row from the Carolina Thunderbirds. Can they do it against another monumental opponent from the Western Division? Here's a shot right off the faceoff from Aaron Atwell streaking in, and an early glove save by Chris Paulin. The Danbury Hat-Tricks love to come out in these periods, especially in the early goings of the game, and get as many shots on goal as possible. And Chris Paulin is there with the first big test of the game, and he passes it with a flashy glove stop. Up comes Matt Graham. Dishes it over to Federle on the left side, in on Atwell. Atwell pokes it back to Contrato, down low Dalton J, kick save McGuckin, a rebound covered up with the catching glove. Dalton J has been all over the ice for the Port Huron Prowlers, hasn't really been able to find the back of the net himself, had a primary assist on a late goal last night. Hat-Tricks won 5-4, and it was Robertson who was able to bang home a rebound with 12 seconds to go. Here's Shinkarik sliding it over to Bonnell, now back out to Atwell. One-time shot off the stick of Levesque is turned aside by Paulin. And that goal by Robertson in the late goings of yesterday's contest, it cut it to a 5-4 game. It was just enough for the Hat-Tricks to hold their breath as here's a loose puck over at the far side post. They did a good job of locking it down on the ensuing faceoff, but still you never can tell. The wonky bounces in this game can change things on a dime. Here's Young now in his own zone, slides it over to Moroso who enters in, has Federle streaking towards the net. Moroso has Shinkarik bearing down on him. Flips it behind the end line. Now picked up, sent it out to Nipper. Crossing to Vartiainen. Down low to Moroso. Moroso takes a check, loses the handle on it for a moment. Federle out to Vartiainen. Quick passing for the Port Huron Prowlers, but no shooting lanes open yet. Just about 5 minutes gone by in the first. Long slap shot goes well wide. Loose puck, now a turnover. Nipper to shot that's gloved out of the air by McGuckin. Miscommunication there for the Danbury defense. They left the puck behind in the far side circle, and that left an open shooting lane for the Prowlers. We take another look at the net mouth scramble that ensued just a couple of moments ago. That was a left leg pad kick save by McGuckin. A rebound starts bouncing around to that far side post. It was left open there for a moment. McGuckin wasn't wholly sure where that puck was. It'll be Portillo, Robertson, and Zulkanich out for the Port Huron Prowlers. That line has combined for 4 goals this weekend. Here's Bronner sliding to Morrissey, now back to Tuma. Out to Morrissey between the hash marks. Between the legs pass is intercepted by Zulkanich, and he carries up for the Prowlers. Crossing to Portillo. Back to Zulkanich, a shot. That's a stop by McGuckin. It goes behind the end boards now. Picked up by Garrett. Exit pass for Bronner, who carries it ahead 2-on-2. Bronner has Morrissey with him. Bronner's long shot snagged out of the air by Paulin, and he holds. Bronner had the overtime winner in Friday night's contest. A terrific feed from Nicola Levesque was able to secure the victory for the Hat-Tricks. And the Hat-Tricks need every single point that they can get. They've gotten 5 of a possible 6 so far this weekend, and they feel the Elmira Enforcers creeping up behind them. They will basically need to win out the remainder of the season in order to maintain the top spot in the Eastern Division. Here's Fowler, over to Sokol on the right side. Sokol, no angle to the net, sends it out in front, glove save McGuckin, and he holds. 7.5 minutes gone by here in the first period. And McGuckin has shown no signs of fatigue. A lot of strength in those virtual legs. You would almost think that they hit the reset button from game to game. He looks still as sharp as ever. Carrying it up the right side are the Hat-Tricks. It's Vlad Gavrik with a long wrist shot. That's blockered aside by Paulin. Picked up by Dearson in the corner, trying to leave it for Anderson. Anderson takes it away, has it on the near side post, and Paulin goes sprawling out headlong to make that stop on the near side post. A bit of an unconventional way of stopping that puck as he went face first into the puck, stacking the pads in the opposite direction. He's taking a page out of the Nick Nieder playbook there. Needed a healthy scratch tonight for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, but he's made a couple of Dominic Hasek-style stack-the-pad saves for the Hat-Tricks this season. Paulin just trying to show the minor league veteran that he learned a thing or two. Over to Kasich on the left side. Kasich has Bolin, Porter, and Neely out with him. The line had a goal yesterday. Bolin Porter, an unsung hero for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, has come up big when they need him, and he plays a very quiet, solid defensive game as well. A very Carl Hagelin-esque kind of player. A reference there for all the Michiganites watching, as Hagelin is a former Michigan Wolverine. Power play coming up as it will be Steve Mealy tagged for the penalty. Let's take another look at the replay. Mealy skating over and knocks a man down from behind. Yes, indeed, that is a cross check. And Steve Mealy, who normally is fairly disciplined, only took a couple of minor penalties over the duration of the 2019-20 season in real life. Now is tagged with his second penalty of the weekend. First power play opportunity of the game for the Port Huron Prowlers. They boast the best unit in the FPHL. They've got Robertson and Portillo out on the forward lines. Young going to retrieve his Contrado in the corner. Out to Vartier. Robertson, far side circle. High slot, Young. Robertson has Dearson knocking the puck away from him for a moment. Prowlers regain possession. Vartier crosses to Young at the blue line. Cross is now over to Robertson at the far side. Takes a step in, but Steve Brown cuts off the shooting lane. Good job by Steve Brown to staple gun the man along the boards, and the Hat-Tricks will clear. Well, I can understand the hesitation when the big body of Steve Brown is bearing down on you like that. It's a bit like a freight train coming at you when you're in the middle of a tunnel. Doing a good job of closing the man off. Now Robertson cutting past Brown, trying to get to the net, can't get a shot off. Waning seconds of the power play. Here's Vartiainen. Long shot, blocker save McGuckin. A rebound is picked up by Brown and shoveled along the boards. Back to 5-on-5 hockey. Here's Corey Anderson entering in, dragging the toe. Wrist shot, save Paulin, and he holds. That's a good job by Corey Anderson off the rush. Senses that he's in kind of all by himself, creates a little bit of separation with that nice move. We'll go back to that blocker save by McGuckin. McGuckin overcommitted a bit to his left, was still able to extend that right arm and knock the puck behind the end line, and Steve Brown was able to collect the trash and maneuver it out into safety. Jay and Bronner in the face-off dots now as Bronner wins it. Morrissey crosses to Ruiz, a shot that's stopped by Paul, and rebound is steered aside by the Prowlers. Federle on the left side. Has Dalton Jay cutting to the net. Johnny Ruiz will run Federle along the boards. Bronner picks it up. Bronner racing ahead, has Young to beat. Bronner trying to deke past Young, leaves the puck behind him, and Young will pick it up with 4.5 remaining in the first period. Young, back pass to Grant, back over to Young, a shot that's shanked wide. I believe McGuckin might have gotten a piece of it. Big hit over by the post, though. And Fowler knocked Martin Tuma off the puck. That's a nice check there by Fowler, knocking the big Martin Tuma off the puck. As we take another look, the replay will cut off so as to save Martin Tuma from having to see him flung off the puck like a Raggedy Ann doll. Fowler and Shinkarik in the dot to the left of McGuckin. Won by Fowler. Crosses over to Giuliano. Has the puck knocked off his stick out into the neutral zone. Prowlers will have to hit the reset button. Back in they come. Giuliano crosses to Sokol. Vartiainen and Parsons up high. Down low to Sokol. Wrist shot by Giuliano. That's snared with a bit of flair by McGuckin, and he holds with 2:45 remaining in the first period. So far, the game has been a bit like a chess match. Plenty of opportunities, but so far, no big strikes yet. Both teams just trying to feel each other out, see who wants to make the first mistake. Here's Joe Pace, the head coach of the Port Huron Prowlers, wrapping it around the perimeter of the boards. Arnott picks it up along the kick plate. Over to Nipper, out to Stoya. Stoya takes a step in, looking down low for Moroso. Moroso has Kasich in front of him. Out to Arnott, a long slap shot. That's blocked by the skates of Atwell, but not out. Here's Moroso with a shot. That's a big save, McGuckin. Approaching the final minute of the first. Up come the Hat-Tricks. A big blue line hit there. They keep possession of the puck, though, as here's Bolin Porter crossing to Kasich. Knocked off the puck by Stoya. Terrific back check by the defender. Now out across the way, collected by Atwell. Down low to Mealy behind the end line. Takes a big check from behind by Arnott. Here's Kasich along the corner. Joe Pace will flip it out into safety. 2 seconds and 1. That will do it for the first period. Both netminders tested. Both netminders come up big for their respective squads. We are scoreless at the end of one, despite plenty of opportunities to go around for both sides. And at the very least, it is an improvement for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, who, in the early goings of both Friday and Saturday's contest, were behind by 2 goals at this point. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Under Reviews YouTube channel. We'll be back momentarily for the start of the second period. Don't go anywhere. We return now to McMorran Arena here in Port Huron, Michigan for the start of the second period. The Hat-Tricks will be skating from left to right on your YouTube screen, wearing their road whites with orange trim. Port Huron wearing their traditional blacks with red and white candy striper sleeves. Levesque takes the puck away right off the dot and slides it over to Bennell. Bennell with a wrist shot that's shouldered aside by Paulin. Bennell with another try on the stuff-in far side post, once more denied. Atwell, high slot to Bush Anderson, winding and firing, and a terrific blocked shot by Giuliano. Port Huron selling out to block that one. As here's Levesque carrying it ahead on the right side. Has Shinkarik and Bennell with him. Back pass for Atwell, taking a step in. Out to Bennell between the hash marks. Bush Anderson run into by Austin Federle. Now Atwell pushed back and forced into the neutral zone by Grant. Grant pushing him ahead like he's a bulldozer. Atwell in on the right side to Shinkarik, to Bush Anderson, a shot that's a stop by Paulin. Ethan Bush Anderson has been getting very involved in the offense as Contrato blocks a shot in front. Bush Anderson getting far more involved with the offense than he was ever able to do as a member of the cross-state rival of the Port Huron Prowlers, the Battle Creek Rumblebees. The Rumblebees, incidentally, will be having an auction on their Facebook page, which you can check out. You can get game-used jerseys as Jay hits it off the side of the post. $200 for game-used jerseys. I imagine if there was anyone that you would want a jersey of the Battle Creek Grumblebees, it would have to be Joel Eisenhower. Eisenhower, the only goaltender for the Battle Creek Grumblebees to get a win in the realm of the living, of course, as the Battle Creek Grumblebees virtual squad, as that shot is gloved by McGuffin. The virtual squad already has 2 wins under their belt. So, in a week, the Grumblebees video game team has outdone the real-life squad, which is both pleasantly surprising and depressing in a way. Nippert carries in, and it'll be a delayed penalty going against the Hat-Tricks. It'll be touched up by Gavrik. Let's see what the call is here. Looks like Casper Dierson will be visiting the sin bin. As we take another look, Dierson gets the stick up on the face of Nippert, and yes, indeed, that is a high stick. Oh, call it a slash. Interesting. I feel like I've been picking on the boys in stripes quite often in this weekend, but it just seems like EA in particular doesn't quite understand the rule book entirely as to what constitutes what. That is definitely a penalty, but it just depends on the label. I am toying with semantics a bit, so I'll let it slide. It's just me being cranky, I suppose. Puck will be cleared down the length of the ice, 1:10 to go in the power play. It'll be picked up by Parsons. Slides it up to Portillo, who dishes it to Robertson. Carries ahead. Red line, blue line, enters in on Atwell. To the high slot, Portillo spins away from the net. Holds on to it as Joe Pace at the near side point calling for it. Parsons over to Robertson. Wraps it around to the far side corner. Portillo looking to Contrado. His shot is gloved by McGuckin, and he holds with 27 seconds to go in the power play. 8 minutes in the second period. Well, that's the right idea. Portillo had it in the corner. Contrado was planting himself right where he needed to be, and that's just a terrific stop by McGuckin. He's come to anticipate that play, as that is the bread and butter of the Port Huron Prowlers. Young now gets it over to Contrado. Young winds, fires, shot blocked in front by Bush Anderson, who collects the loose puck and lifts it down the length of the ice. That will do it for the power play. Prowlers now 0 for 2 on the man advantage. Turnover now, and Anderson's shot is stopped by Paulin. Robertson's exit pass hit off the side of the net and bounced right in front. Ooh, and Corey Anderson came inches away from giving the Hat-Tricks their first lead of the game, almost capitalizing on what would have been a catastrophic mistake. Take another look. He looks blocker side on Paulin. Goodness me. Paulin bailing out his defender. Like his defender was named was AIG. Bronner and Fowler in the dot. Here's Morrissey carrying it ahead with Johnny Ruiz. Morrissey back to Bronner. Loses the handle on the puck, was stripped from behind. A good back check by Stoyas. Stoyas had a solid defensive game. Bronner looking for the stuffing on the near side post. It'll be a delayed penalty going against Port Huron as a hook will be called. I believe it was as Bronner was cutting to the net. Will confirm to be sure, and yes, indeed, will be Fowler. As Bronner was trying to get to the net, had his left hand lifted up into the air, and yes, indeed, that is a hook going against Fowler, and it'll be Shinkarik, Benell, and Levesque out to try to get the first goal of the game for the Hat-Tricks. Won by Shinkarik. Out to Brown, and crosses to Cruz Listmayer. Brown and Listmayer normally play more defensive roles for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. They'll see some power play time here today. Shinkarik. Backhander, that one's an elbow save by Paulin, and he'll be cleared by the Prowlers. All the way down towards McGuckin, who'll leave it for his defender Listmayer. McGuckin not as adventurous playing the puck as his battery mate Dylan Kelly, who loves to come out of his net and play the puck as that long slap shot is blocked, although he's not as aggressive as well as the third netminder on the Hat-Tricks, Nick Nieder. That shot is redirected and then covered up by Paulin. Nieder was a lot like the old-time goaltenders like Martin Brodeur or even Martin Baron, the goaltender of the Buffalo Sabres. They would love to come out aggressively, play the puck, and try to sauce it up the ice as best they. It was almost like having a third defender back there. Nieder is very aggressive. He's very nimble. And we've seen him before create some opportunities for the Hat-Tricks with his stick work. Atwell, high slot, takes a step in. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Bush Anderson, long slap shot. That one was blocked in front, and Paulin will pounce on the rebound and cover it up before any second chances can be had for the Hat-Tricks. 10 seconds to go in the man advantage. They'll have one last face-off. It'll be Bronner and Dalton Jay. Bronner and Jay, both former Danbury Titans, playing in the FPHL. Young will slap it down, and ooh, look like that one caught Steve Brown in the face. And he was able to break that down. Long slap shot, that's blocked in front. Brown doesn't look any worse for wear. He's still skating around. He wore that one right. Looked like that might have caught him square in the nose. He's like Rocky Balboa. No one's ever broken his nose before. Play goes on, life goes on, as that shot from the circle was easily covered by McGuckin. Hat-Tricks doing a good job so far of limiting the Prowlers to the outside. That's exactly the adjustment that they needed to make over this weekend. Kasich and Nippert in the face-off dot with 7:01 to go in the second. Still looking for our first tally of the game. Taking a step in as Arnott collides with a Danbury hat-trick. Joe Pace fumbling with the puck for a moment. Nippert and Tuma jostling forward in the far side circle. It's Tuma coming away with it. Tuma up with Bolin, Porter, and Kasich. Stripped from behind by Nippert, a good play. Now Arnott back to Stoya. Prowlers trying to start their momentum up ice. Dumping it in is Fowler. Tuma turns around and will send it out into open space. Collision along the near side midboards taken away. Here comes Steve Mealy. Mealy racing ahead with Bolin Porter. To Bolin Porter, back to Mealy. He scores! Bolin Porter and Mealy connecting on the 2-on-1. The Hat-Tricks lead at 1-0. And what a terrific give and go this is. Mealy crosses to Bolin Porter. Bolin Porter knows he's got an open passing lane. And he catches Paulin out of position. Arnott commits a cardinal sin as a defender. Arnott, as a defender, you always have to play the pass. Instead, he overcommits, tries to get on Mealy, who thinks he's going to get the initial shot, and he gets spun like a dreidel in the defensive zone. And the Hat-Tricks' fourth line does damage, and they get Danbury on the board. Mealy and Bolin Porter, that is a high-skill fourth line for the Hat-Tricks. Bolin Porter does have a hat-trick under his belt this season. Steve Mealy, who is a near point-per-game player in the regular season, highly active, bouncing between the forward lines and the defense. I'm sure he's happy to be back on the forward lines where he belongs. That is the luxury of being able to roll 4 lines as opposed to just 10 forwards. You're able to get guys back to where their natural positions are, like Vlad Gavrik and Steve Mealy, who spent a good portion of the season on the blue line. 3:15 to go in the period. Prowlers looking for a response. Sokol spins away from a hit, has it between the hash marks. His shot is stopped by McGuckin. Plays it out in front of him, keeps it alive. Interesting decision there by McGuckin to keep play going. Now it's carried up by Anderson as Vartianen in front of him. Maneuvers to his left. Waits for reinforcements. Hits Levesque in stride. Levesque looking for a shot and has his legs taken out from underneath him. Port Huron defense saying, "Oh no you don't," to Nicola Levesque, who thought he had a clean look to the net. We'll take another look at that shot by Sokol between the hash marks. He's skating out to a dangerous area. That's about where Ruslan Fedotenko scored his Game 7 goal in 2004. The most dangerous area of the ice. Square to the net, unencumbered, in between the hash marks. Face-off to the left of Paulin is won by the Prowlers. Up the left wing comes Federley, crossing the way to Graham as Contrado joining the rush. Down low for Federley's shot, kick save, McGuckin. McGuckin doing a terrific job of locking things down. He's been very active and spry with those legs. Long shot, a lively bounce off the glass. Half a minute to go in the period. Atwell charges ahead, a 3-on-2 if they hurry. Has Shinkarik with him. Atwell stops short, evades a defender. His shot blocked. Looked like that went off the back of Gordy Bennell and off the glass. Final seconds of the period, Shinkarik crosses the wrong side of the blue line, and that will be an offsides penalty. The Hat-Tricks will have to take the face-off in the neutral zone. That'll just about do it for the period, one would imagine. What a terrific move that was by Aaron Atwell, crossing to his right side. holding it on his right-handed forehand. Bronner and Portillo in the dot now. It'll be tied up and won by Portillo, and that will do it for the second period. Steve Mealy tallies the lone goal in the frame, and the Danbury Hat-Tricks currently lead a low-scoring affair. It is 1-0. Well, Friday night's contest was a 5-4 victory for the Hat-Tricks. Excuse me, a 4-3 victory for the Hat-Tricks. Saturday was a 5-4 victory. Lower scoring action here in this one, as Danbury takes a 1-0 lead into the third. You're watching Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Under Reviews YouTube channel. Stay with us. We'll be back for the third period. We are approaching our conclusion of an eventful 3-game weekend. Danbury Hat-Tricks looking for the clean sweep of the Port Huron Prowlers. Danbury was able to take a 3-game set from Carolina. Now they're trying to do the same to the second seed in the Western Division as the team continues their push to the playoffs. Every matchup with a Western Division opponent is a potential finals matchup preview, as the Hat-Tricks played the Columbus River Dragons very evenly this season, as the River Dragons won the season series. And they played the Danville Dashers evenly as well. Danville also won the season series. They won that 3-1. Meanwhile, the Danbury Hat-Tricks were able to dispatch Carolina 6-1 in the season series. So every matchup has been very tightly contested, very even. You wonder what could have been if the Danbury Hat-Tricks in the Western Division were allowed to square off from the championship. That being, of course, assuming that the Danbury Hat-Tricks could get through the team in the Eastern Division that has caused them the most trouble, the Elmira Enforcers. The Hat-Tricks did have a winning record against Elmira this season, but Elmira is the only team, or was the only team for the longest time, to beat the Hat-Tricks in regulation time on their home ice. And they did so with relative ease in a couple of those matchups. So that would have been a terrific matchup. The Hat-Tricks never got to see Tyler Jurich in an Elmira uniform. Carrying it ahead on the left side is Johnny Ruiz. Ruiz forced into the corner. Wraps around behind the end line. Playing the perimeter. Gets it out to the point. Long shot redirected in front by Morrissey. Loose puck picked up by Bronner. Now over to Morrissey once more. Morrissey at the circle, back to Bronner, over to Brown. Along to the far side point, now back to Steve Brown at the near side. His long shot, fallen on by Paulin as he covers with his back. Paulin looking like he's going into corpse pose in yoga. Falling down on his backside, had no idea where the puck was. Faceoff will be to his right. Kicked back to the point. Here's Martin Tuma taking a step in. Takes a check for his efforts, and he's down on the ice. It looks like he might be shaken up a little bit. Slow to get back to his feet. One-time shot by Anderson is fanned on. Looks like his stick might have failed him. Now carrying ahead, a 2-on-2. Back to Portillo. Long shot, gloved and held by McGuckin. Interesting passing option there, as Ilkanich was waiting for it at the near side circle, looking like he was ready to receive and chip it ahead. There's Ilkanich throwing that hard check on Martin Tuma that got him shaken up a bit. Tuma is one of the elder statesmen on the Danbury Hat-Tricks. You got to be careful. He's played through many an injury this season. Had injuries with his fingers, had injuries with his knees, injuries with his ribs. He came out of retirement to play for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Had not played pro hockey since 2015-16. A one-time draft pick of the Florida Panthers back in 2003, was drafted in the 5th round, played professionally in the Czech Republic for many years. Out to Gavrik, down low to Tuma. At the far side point, Kenny Garrett. Gavrik once more at the circle, stripped from behind by Stoya. Now carrying it ahead, Arnott. Arnott crosses to Robertson. His shot is paddled aside by McGuckin. Another try goes off the side of the net. Gavrik crosses to Tuma, now up to Kasich. Kasich entering in. Waits for it, gets it back to Tuma. His shot blocker saved by Paulin. Ooh, good shot there by Tuma as he took a step in. Had an open look to Paulin. Kasich back to Atwell. Down low looking for Neely. His shot blocked in front. Back the other way come the Prowlers. Sokol squares to the net, kicked out by McGuckin. Giuliano and Kasich collide in the corner. Kasich out in front of the net to Tuma, coughs it up, and Atwell tries to force it up the ice. And the Prowlers are able to maintain zone time. Costly mistake as they passed it out in front of the Hat-Tricks net, and the Prowlers get an offensive zone chance now as Giuliano sends it towards the net, and McGuckin will awkwardly cover it up by that near side post. And you never want to pass it in front of your own net there, and that's exactly what the Hat-Tricks did. Going back to that shot, though, by Tuma. Tuma is an interesting case, though, in that if you go back far enough, depending on when they put in AHL teams in the NHL video game universe, there's a chance that Martin Tuma is actually in one of these games. Nowadays, you can play as AHL teams, ECHL teams, junior leagues. Martin Tuma played for the Rochester Americans in '07. I'm not sure if they were in the game by that point, so that shot was blocked out in front. Maybe Nick Niedert is on one of those ECHL rosters, depending on if you could update them via the internet for a couple of his stints. Or you could just sign Cruz Listmayer's uncle Colton Orr to the roster. Here's Dalton Jay entering in on the right side. Jay has Contrado, hits him in stride. Contrado shoots and scores! Brandon Contrado was able to get the Port Huron Prowlers on the board. He knocks the score at 1 with 7 minutes to go in the period. Well, this is a terrific pass. A streaking Contrado has an open lane in front of him. Dalton Jay makes the pass over from the near side midboards, beats McGuckin. Simply too much open room for him to maneuver. Bush Anderson and Nicola Levesque took a step up towards him. Neither one of them wanted to get in the shooting lane so as to screen their own netminder. And he beats McGuckin clean. Contrado evens up the score, and we've got ourselves a new hockey game with 7 minutes remaining in regulation time. Federley's shot goes off the catching glove of McGuckin and goes up over the net mouth. Inches away from getting a fortuitous bounce. Now another try goes off the post. Port Huron coming now centimeters away from getting the lead in this one. A one-time shot gloved out of the air. McGuckin. Hold your breath and bite your nails. The Hat-Tricks holding on for dear life in this one, as it looks like. As that one bounced over the net mount just barely. Well, we're tied in the late goings of the third. Do we perhaps have even more overtime action ahead? 3 of the 4 games between these two teams have gone into extra time. Vartieni to Joe Pace. Back to the net, run into the boards by Johnny Ruiz. Pace out to the point, Vartieni crosses to Parsons. His shot blocked by the stick of Shane Morrissey. Delayed penalty coming up, and the penalty will be against the Hat-Tricks. With 4:41 to go, Steve Brown will be shown the door. Brown came together with Moroso. He got his stick up on Moroso, caught him in the chin. And yes, indeed, Steve Brown will head to the sin bin. 0 for 2 are the Prowlers on the power play, with as good an opportunity as ever to get the go-ahead goal. Long shot blocker aside by McGuckin, and he'll be lifted up out of play. Do we have a delay of game penalty coming up on Dearson? No, we do not. Dearson very fortunate. He sent that into the bench a couple of feet over to his right, and that might have gone over the glass clean. And that would have been a 5-on-3, and that would have been disastrous. Portillo, Contrado, and Robertson. Portillo has 3 goals on the weekend against the Hat-Tricks. Contrado has the only one in this one for the Prowlers. Taking a step in is Robertson. Sends it off of the elbow of McGuckin. Trying to clear of the Hat-Tricks, they cannot. It's held in at the point by Parsons. Over to Portillo. Back to Parsons. Crosses to Pace. Robertson halfway through the power play. 3:45 to go in regulation time. Shinkarik takes the puck away. Ambles out into the neutral zone and will dump it in deep. Robertson carries ahead now with Atwell and Bush Anderson holding down the defensive zone. Here's Robertson's shot, save McGuckin. A rebound is steered aside by Atwell. Gets it up to Anderson. Glides ahead in the neutral zone. Enters in by himself. Waits for reinforcements. Holds up, has Bush Anderson in front of the net. Can't get it over to him. Final seconds of the power play. Bush Anderson up the right wing to Anderson. That'll do it. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey with 2.5 minutes to go. Steve Brown out of the box, throws a big check on Robertson. Robertson behind the Hat-Trick's net. Getting it out to Parsons. Out to Young. Brown up high. Brown is a defender who's playing on the forward line right now. Can't get off for a change. Minute 30 to go. Here's Parsons down low for Jay. Jay's shot through traffic is seen and held by McGuckin. And that will allow the Hat-Tricks to get a key change. That was a tired unit out there in their defensive zone. Brown had yet to get off the ice after taking his penalty. He had to hop right into the defensive zone. Try and kill off what has been a terrific late-game surge for the Port Huron Prowlers. It's Kasich, Bolin Porter, and Mealy. They have the only goal for the Danbury Hat-Tricks in this game. As a long shot is fought off by McGuckin. We get a brief pause in the action as we just have a moment to catch our breath here as we hit the final minute of play in regulation time. I understand, God, we need a moment. Here's Bolin Porter doing work. This fourth line has a goal. Do they have more magic in them? Tuma's long slap shot. They score! Redirected down low. It's Kendall Bolin Porter. With 46 seconds to go in regulation time. Take another look as Martin Tuma's bomb of a slap shot hit off of, I believe, the side of Bolin Porter. He was crashing that net hard, and Bolin Porter might have gotten away with a goalie interference on that one. He came together with Paulin, took Paulin out of position. Puck goes off of his stick, and the Hat-Tricks dramatically have taken a 2-1 lead. Paulin will race to the bench. Bunnell will hold at the red line. Fumbles with the puck. Gets it over to Giuliano. One last chance here for the Prowlers with half a minute to go. Giuliano squares to the net. Fought off McGuckin. Tuma and Kasich get the assists on Kendall Bolin Porter's goal that might be the decider. 20 seconds to go in the game. Here's Kenny Garrett up to Martin Tuma. Tuma forced wide, gets it out to Levesque. He scores! Icing on the cake and put a bow on it. Nick Levesque with the empty netter. And the Hat-Tricks will win this one 3-1. Martin Tuma with a great job of shielding the puck. That'll be his second assist of the game. Protecting the puck as he skated into the far side corner, and Nick Levesque was waiting, and he fires a one-time shot. And that will wrap things up. The Danbury Hat-Tricks come away with a dramatic, hard-fought victory over the Port Huron Prowlers as Nippard will take a final step in, is forced wide into the corner, 2 seconds and 1, and that will do it. Break out the brooms. The Danbury Hat-Tricks sweep the weekend from the Port Huron Prowlers. A Swiffer Sweeper 3-game set as the Hat-Tricks get 1 in the Hat City and 2 in Michigan. Late game heroics from the fourth line as Kendall Bolin Porter with a goal and an assist in this one. Martin Tuma with a pair of primaries in the final minute of regulation time. A controversial game-winning goal for the Danbury Hat-Tricks as Paulin can do nothing but watch it trickle over the end line. We thank you for tuning in, and be sure to follow underreview.org and the Under Reviews YouTube channel for all future game streams. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Casey Bryant, wishing you good day and good health.